If there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. Like there's people that find reasons to not do things, and then there's people that find reasons to get things done, right?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Creative Businessmen. Today's episode, we have Tanner Plains on with us. He's a highly intelligent young entrepreneur. He's only 21 years old, but he's already experienced a lot of success in his business journey that he started back when he was 13 years old. So it was a really interesting conversation. It's cool to hear about his experience and how he's navigated the entrepreneurial world and what he's up to today. I think you guys will probably get a lot out of it. I know we have, and I hope you enjoy it. So here it is. When did you start your business? You were really young. What, your first business?
This could go in many different ways, but keeping it kind of just to the point of it. And when I was 13 years old, I'd got an iPad Mini for Christmas. I guess one day, and most of my time when I would get home from school was spent on that, just messing around. I would, not as much time as I was, going outside and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Do you guys remember the social media app Vine?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of like TikTok in a way.
Right. Short videos.
6-second videos that loop. And basically I'd start making videos on there, just like themed accounts, of whether it's sports highlights, epic clips, funny stuff, whatever it was, just making different themed accounts.
Yeah.
And growing accounts from there. And eventually one just kind of blew up. Kind of like how TikTok is right now, where you can just have stuff get a lot of views organically. The algorithm can push it.
Right.
And then grew themed accounts, and then eventually, after having several 100,000 followers, moved over to Instagram, started making money by selling shout-outs, and then basically, companies pay you for the shout-outs. Like whatever, I'm going to pay Mr. Business $100 to promote my guitar on his page.
Yeah.
So
marketing.
I realized, if these people, they're doing influencer marketing, these companies are typically they're making a profit if they're continuously paying you. So I wanted to get on the opposite side of that and, be the one selling stuff and organizing that and making the real money, not just the, picking up the leftovers.
Where did that come from? Where did you pick that up in your brain? Is that something you figured out by yourself? Did you see someone else doing it? Did somebody instill business in you, or what was it?
I'd say, I grew up, both of my parents, neither of them were very successful business people. My mom's grown up a social worker. She has her own business now, which is really cool. My dad was a freelance developer, and now he has a job doing different things inside of there. But there was a point where my dad was working, he was developing and working with these two guys they basically would build businesses and then sell them. And so I got to be around one of the guys there, was very, I don't know to what level of success he had, if there was some family money, whatever it was, but sometimes I would go to the office and see him. Like one time he had a Ferrari and whatever. I'm like, damn, this is real. Like there's money, and I'd go there and visit. It's just my dad, these two guys, and they have an office, a warehouse kind of thing, and just people working there, toys, whatever. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
To be able to come here every single day and have fun. So that kind of was at the same time where I was gaining attention on social media on these themed accounts. So I was like, man, how can I take what I'm spending my time on anyways and like doing, and I want to live like this. But obviously at the time I was just in middle school.
Yeah, inspirational. So is that when you started? I guess your first company was drop shipping. Is that?
Yeah. So with the social media stuff, the first way I was making money was affiliate marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So promoting these products, because none of this was attached to my face. It was like, right. If you see an Instagram account that's whatever, memes or whatever, like that kind of thing, none of it was ever of me, Tanner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, it was promoting products, get paid the commissions from there, and then selling basically in 2017, there was a point where I was partnered with someone. We had a big Instagram account, over 3 million followers, and, the account itself would bring in around 10 grand a month, just nice. In, selling the shout outs to companies. Like FitTea was a very popular one back then. And that's when, drop shipping and YouTube started getting more popular.
And you were 14, right?
I was probably at this point, 2017, I was 16 years old.
16, okay.
So
that's good money at 16.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I wasn't making all the money. I was making a little bit of money, which was cool. Getting used to that.
He also had a Porsche at 16, so
yeah,
he was making a little bit of money.
Yeah, things happened. Things happened so quick, honestly. Yeah. I'll say at this point, it was early 2017 where I had was still doing the Instagram stuff, but this was at a point where, you know, I'd been around this couple of business guys my dad was working with and seeing what the real life about this was. At the time, I'm going to events, like local events here, just kind of putting my face out there. I'm glad my dad pushed me to kind of do that and meet people. And, you know, some cool opportunities came out of that. You know, at the same time, also, I was running an entrepreneur club at my high school where I would invite people like you guys come speak and just kind of have fun interacting, trying just all kinds of things to see what I could make money from and what would stick.
Yeah.
And one of those things was my first e-commerce business towards the beginning of 2017. And 2017 was very much a breakthrough year because I would say towards the end of 2017, like in October, I went from basically, you know, what I would consider broke, but like I was a high school student, I'm having fun. I had a little money just kind of doing my thing, trying to find something that sticks to, you know, a few months later was, you know, when I finally got to touch some real money and obviously I, you know, bought that first car, you know, off the rip.
Is that when you made when you were 16, you made like, there was a day you made like 20K in a day, wasn't there?
Yeah, so that was the big, you know, breakthrough that I would consider. As I'd been doing the e-commerce stuff a little bit. Still at this time, I was not really doing anything with my face. It was still the themed accounts. I had a personal page on Instagram, and I had like basically networked just over the years with all these guys on social media or my age do similar stuff. And we had a group chat on Instagram. And we'd all kind of tell each other, you know, if there's ever an event or something we wanted to meet up at. And there was one in Miami in October. And the previous ones I hadn't been able to go to because my parents didn't want me at 16 going all the way to California or whatever it is, or couldn't afford it, whatever the reason may have been. And there was one in Miami, and I had family in Florida, so like, okay. I asked my parents, and they're like, yeah. I had my cousin go with me because I wasn't old enough to, one, I didn't have a car down there. I wasn't old enough to like get a hotel or anything like that. So I book an Airbnb under my cousin's name, and a one-bedroom apartment. Ends up there's like 7 of us stuffed in there that night of these guys I have never met in person. These are all guys just online we're all kind of doing our own little business stuff. This is the first time I had ever been to a big city. You know, all the things that motivated me in those early ages on social media were the cars, the watches, all this stuff that I had never really seen. I'd never traveled, so this was my first chance to really see what's possible, and that was in the cars and all this stuff in Miami. That was just really crazy. And literally a week after that, one of the guys told me to start a YouTube channel. I started posting on YouTube every day about what I'm doing, my journey. And then literally within 2 weeks was that 20K day. I had that big breakthrough where I found this product, and it just ended up working really well and got a lot of attention. But yeah, 20K in revenue.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Well,
So I love the creativity, though, about this is how I felt when I was younger. Like these rules, these arbitrary rules that you have to be a certain age to do something, it gets so annoying because there are 16-year-olds, obviously, that are more driven and more responsible than 35-year-olds, right? So, but the fact is you couldn't rent a car, you can't rent a house, you can't rent a hotel, right? So, like, I love the creative solution to
Yeah. If there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. Like, there's people that find reasons to not do things, and then there's people that find reasons to get things done, right? Like, we're going to find a way to do it.
Some people can't. It's like some people can't see things too that way. Like I know when I was 13, and we were on a family trip. I was with my mom, and we were visiting some of her family members, and one of my second cousins was with us, and he wasn't a good decision maker, and he was probably close to 30 at the time, and I was like, hey man, why don't you? And I was 13, so I was like, things aren't going well for you, but why don't you talk to my uncle? And because he had a successful business out that way where we were, I was like, see if you can. He had a really successful mobile home park in the town we were at, and I was like, why don't you talk to my uncle and see if maybe he can help you buy a mobile home. And then you can put it on his park. You rent a space, and then rent out the home. And then, because back then you could buy them cheap. You could buy them for like $1,000. A used one that's maybe had some damage. They're easy to fix up. I have another uncle that used to do some, a lot of real estate stuff, and he would do some work with mobile homes. And I'd been with him when he was purchasing them and fixing them up to be rented. And it was pretty simple. And I was like, dude, you could just save up a little bit of money, buy one of these, and put it on the park, and rent a spot, and then rent the home out, and then just keep repeating that, and probably do pretty well, because he was not from there. I think he was like from Nevada at the time, and he had moved out this way because he was having some financial issues, and he just didn't get it. Like, he just completely didn't understand.
He shut off the idea?
Yeah, he just said, well, that's, how am I going to do that? I was like, you just have to save up a little bit of money. It's not that much money. He's like, I could probably save up that money.
He didn't talk to your uncle or anything?
No, he never did anything.
Yeah,
no.
That was the thing. He was never going to do it.
No,
yeah. Him at 13 would have been a better business person than that guy, and that's fine. It's not a stab at everybody, but some people are just not going to do it. So, you at 16 figured out how to get it done, and that's the thing. Some people in life are going to get it done, and some people aren't. So it's like, what makes you successful? Like, what makes you be so passionate about an outcome that you do whatever it takes to get there? Like, if you can define that, you can define why there's people that are wildly successful, right? What drives them, what motivates them, and you figure out why other people just kind of go through life, right? And it's not meant to be a stab at anybody, but
I think it's well, it's different for everybody, but
right.
it's also, I don't know, if you're not around people that also know their own why or what their purpose is. Obviously, not everybody's meant to be a business person, but
I agree.
It's true. Yeah.
No passion towards anything, that's going to be the same way.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why
it's a lot easier if you find something you're good at and you're passionate about.
There's also people who find things they're good at, and money never really enters the equation.
No, I agree. Money, I don't think money has to be the goal. I think passion and drive.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, he became passionate about something that a byproduct of that becomes money.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's I guess the people I'm referencing are the people that don't ever get passionate about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have meaning in your life, I think. And it doesn't necessarily have to be it doesn't have to have a monetary benefit, but it has to provide you with some type of meaning, make you feel meaningful.
I'm cursed. Mine has to have monetary benefit.
Well, me too. Yeah.
People say you need to have you need to have 3 hobbies: one that makes you money, one that keeps you healthy, and one, I don't know, one you just
keeps your balls empty.
Yeah, something like that.
Ding.
I think that's number 4.
Yeah.
That may be a curse.
That's my second curse. But you were saying, so you made your way to Miami, you Airbnb on your cousin's name, etc. 6, 7 guys in this.
Yeah, my cousin was there obviously, and he had a couple friends that ended up showing up, and we're over here.
How old is your cousin, by the way?
At the time, I mean, he's
old enough.
He was
old enough. Fair enough.
But after that time, I realized I basically found a way. I just started going to Miami a lot, and I figured out I could still check in. They asked for my ID, but I don't know what the deal was. They would still let me in this place. But yeah, that was just a huge breakthrough moment, and I think.
Shout out to your parents for letting you leave at 16.
Yeah, really.
Can you tell me about Nomarama?
Namarama. Yeah, so Namarama was actually there's so many little stories inside of the grand scheme of things, and Namarama was one of the Instagram pages. It was one of the most successful growths I've had with a theme page. So I started this account. I have it all documented. It was in 2017, I believe, was when it was first started. A food page. We just post recipes and stuff. Nothing that we would just get the content from other companies that make the content, and we just credit them and post that with their permissions. We get permissions from certain businesses, and this is a time where basically Instagram feed posts were what as to Reels on Instagram right now is, or TikTok, where there's the algorithm that you can just organically go viral. And there was basically this time where what we would do is have these engagement groups, basically finessing the algorithm, where we had all these other big pages. So I started this food page, and I would post 3 times a day a food video. Very simple, basically no work at all, because I'm not making these actual videos. And we have the engagement group, so as soon as I post, I send this to a group chat of 100 people or whatever it is, and say, hey, like and comment these 2 recent posts, and then they do that, and they say, okay, done, and here's for me, go like and comment on this account or my account, whatever it is. And basically that tricked the algorithm into thinking this is getting a lot of attention quick, because you do it as soon as you post, you blast it to everybody, and all these big pages like and comment. And this way we had grown that account from basically, it was 0 to from scratch all the way to over 700,000 followers in a few months.
Wow.
And all just organically. I didn't make a single piece of content on this food page, and that it didn't really even make any money. There was a couple like brand deals we did, but that kind of stemmed like back into school when I was in the entrepreneur club. Was doing had the idea. My school didn't serve lunches. It was a charter school. They didn't have any lunch. It was a newer school, so my dad's like, why don't we do a business where we find a solution to, like, you're doing the food page. How can this tie in, whatever, and
Right.
serve food and make that a business? And we ended up, I met with a Chick-fil-A in Kernersville, the owner, the operator there, figure out how we could do this and, serve lunches. Did a bunch of data. Like I got access to the principal. The school worked with me to where I could send emails through them to all the parents, collect data on like what they would want, what they would pay for their kids, all this data, and then took that into account to create, like, we tried it one day for different grade levels and all the logistics of timing, brought in Chick-fil-A and meals and stuff. And it went all right. I can't remember the exact reason why it didn't work out. I think it was something that I kind of was doing on my own in a way, and I felt so pressured on it, and I really was scared because it wasn't what I was used to as far as like the online stuff. And it could have been very successful, but it was something that I just wasn't into, and I didn't have anybody else like really pushing me into it as much.
Well, sometimes it's just not the right opportunity.
Well, what you're also saying is that you were trying to solve a lunch problem that the school themselves didn't. So the people that created
Right.
the charter school didn't take into consideration.
Yeah.
And you're 16 years old, coordinating
Yeah.
with the parents of the students, the Chick-fil-A, the staff.
Yeah, and I would argue that
While
there-
in school, I'd say you did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I
right?
would
Like,
argue there was some success there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
just not.
Well,
on
now
the
they
level that
actually
you
did it. Like as I still went to that school over the couple of years.
Did
they-
you get a kickback? You still getting a piece of that, royalties,
I wish.
or?
The school wanted to kick. I forget what the exact numbers were. They wanted like.
Of course they.
Oh
did.
yeah.
I forget what we were doing for the meals. It was going to be, I don't know. They were going to be different, like $7. Let's say it was $7. The school. Like,
So they eventually did your idea.
someone did it.
Yeah.
And
the
they-
school did. They're profiting from it.
And they did.
Once
what-
you graduated, they knew they didn't have to cut you in on it. So
Yeah.
So what did the school want out of it?
rev share.
I would have to look at the exact numbers, all the documents and stuff we did, and it was still very preliminary. But I don't remember if it was like if meals were $7, they would want like, all right, we want like $1, or like you have to donate X to the school or whatever it was.
That's dumb. How about just pay me because I'm providing a service?
Yeah, they-
government bureaucracies are not good at business. Like,
Yeah, they
typically.
You don't want them to withdraw, revoke your high school diploma. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
But that was Namarama with and then the food page. I just got busy, stopped posting on it, and then sold it to someone for way too little. Just I was doing other stuff, but someone still owns it. I don't know
Yeah,
who
it's
it is,
still
but
up.
Oh,
they,
wow.
they post like every day, but they just post like some really shitty stuff. Like the engagement's gone. It's like 30 likes.
What's the trick that you found with engagement early on that made those pages blow up for you? Was it just the interaction instantly?
It was the engagement groups. It was really a trick. That's what I did with Vine and then Instagram. And it was just a trick to grow. Like you do this now, it's not gonna work. Like these were videos that were like this page was getting millions of views every single day across the videos. Like there was no video that had less than 100,000 views. And this is an account with no followers, just starting from scratch.
Yeah, I don't think tricking the algorithm is the right word, though. I think you were just you created a way to boost whatever post you made. Like you're boosting the content, so you're creating this content or posting content, and then you have a network that just boosts that content and gets the ball rolling, and then the algorithm just takes off and does the rest.
Yeah.
But you're ensuring that whatever you post on that site is viewed by millions of people.
Yeah,
Pretty incredible.
I wish it worked the same now.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It
Yeah.
just doesn't.
What's the difference?
I would say now is, across the platform, like Reels and TikTok and same thing with YouTube is just the watch time.
Yeah.
Watch time, and I mean, there's obviously other like the engagement factors that come into play, but we've had this like really, like even doing some stuff with Daniel, like really random videos just get tons of views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the?
Oh, we got one that. So sometimes it doesn't even have to be what I would consider like
Right.
quality. There's stuff that you put all the effort. He told me this. He warned me. He's like, man, you're going to put all this effort into something, and it's getting virtually no views. And he said the thing that seems so stupid that you put the least amount of effort will blow up, and it did. We had videos that like I had literally like I just was like, man, Tanner, can you believe this shit? One of my Lamborghinis, the
yeah. I
the
saw
little
it.
piece, right? It's just making a squeaking noise.
Yeah.
And I sent it to him because I thought it was fun. And we ended up turning it into a video, right? And it got it got multiple million. It got copied by other people, and
Yeah,
they did
people
it.
using the sound.
I mean, it was like it made no sense.
I had a
man.
friend of mine tell me the other day. He said, I was telling him, I'm so worried about making the show that I'm making, and I really like it, and blah, blah, blah. And then I was telling him all this other dumb shit that I wanted to do, and he says, you're going to be so angry when that's the stuff that takes off.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's true. And then he showed me examples of the throwaway things that he posted that got him the most views and ended up turning into big things for him.
I think that's how it is for short form content.
Yeah.
For long form and building an audience, definitely you see people, whoever that has a big following on YouTube or whatever, you're going to have people that watch you for you if you're in that stage. But in short form, people that don't know you, just catching random people's attention, it's always just, it's
nonsensical stuff.
very much so.
I will tell you. So I feel like, and I'm, obviously, virtually everything I've learned about social media came from Tanner. Tanner came into my life when he was 16. So, but for me, it was like this big learning curve because I had pretty much shunned social media and was still in the brick and mortar world. And you were talking about, what gets promoted. And I feel like what Instagram's turned into is anything you post in your, as a post in your feed is basically just marketed directly to the people that you're friends with. And it doesn't really reach much outside of that. And anything you post in your story, it's the exact same thing. Like the people that are seeing your story are people that follow you.
Yeah.
Right. So Instagram wasn't doing a great job with promoting your stuff to other people outside of your network. Right. It became very much like Facebook in that manner. And then I think, they did it through the IGTV where they were trying to compete with YouTube and, unsuccessfully, I think. And then the Reels, I think, was more directed towards TikTok and towards mirroring that content. And I do think they've done a much better job with the Reels.
Well, I think they have to stay competitive with TikTok, and you can see each of these sites making the small adjustments to take advantage of the other sites that are having any success on there.
So Tanner, with Tanner's help, we started doing that, and we took my page from 1,600 followers to a little over 40,000 right now, with what I would consider very little work, very little effort, I should say, on my part. Not a little work, but very little effort. And, with him just telling me like little, we can call it tricks, but like little things like keys to success. And I think that's part like indicative in traditional business. He's done it, he's lived it, he's been in that. So there's these little tips that he'll give you that you just don't think make any, to me, it was like, it shouldn't matter. Right. It does matter. Yeah. And it doesn't matter why it matters. It does. This is the way you need to do it. And here's why. And sure enough, like the recipe works. And so like I got to kind of get out of my own way because I'm, I call myself I would say I'm a fairly successful business person, but this is new to me. So like I don't need to be the one recreating the wheel here. He already knows how to do it. Yeah. He's done it over and over and over again. Oh yeah,
your situation recently has been a really cool case study for building that up with the Reels. And as like we're literally launching a company to do that for other people, anybody who wants to do the Reels, because it's such a good opportunity right now. So I don't know when this is coming out, but we're about to launch it, reelsgoneviral.com, where we're doing that. We already have the editors, everything good to go. Like that's the thing, man. Like you're spot on. We post something. We post a picture on my Instagram feed right now of us sitting here. It's going to reach 90% of the people are going to be people that follow me. We do Reels, different stuff, messing around. We take some of these clips out of here and. I'll even take some out and have our editors make some Reels from the website and way more attention, reach more people. We have the analytics, the case studies. Like I forget what yours was. You reached
it's ridiculous.
You've reached a few million people, and 95% of them are people that haven't seen you before or followed you. Yeah.
And if we go back, so if you go back, I wish we'd have got the screen grab from the first 2 weeks. Because that window doesn't include it. But if you go back the first 2 weeks, it shows 144,000% increase engaged. The numbers are stupid because, when you're seeing that 34,000% increase, that's after it's not factoring in that 2 week period. So it looks like it's less than what it actually was. So if we can run it to encompass that, you'll see it's actually 144,000% increase, and it's wow, how's that even possible? But it's just crazy.
It's an opportunity right now for sure.
Yeah, I've got, and it only shows 99 plus. Once you hit, I can't keep up with it. So the messages. I've got my primary. I've got the general, right, and then I've got one that are people that it just loads up. So it just says 99 plus constantly, right? And I'll go in there and I'll knock out, what I feel like is 50 or 100. There's just thousands. Like I can't
Yeah.
even keep up with all the messages that
That's
I get.
what people don't realize. I mean, some people post this stuff like TikTok, in my opinion, is mostly the stuff that goes viral is effortless, just normal, like what you may consider normal, everyday social media users that they don't post stuff for, like I post stuff for, the business or whatever, because it all relates back, gets me more clients, more eyes, and that's, builds everything else up. But the people I see going viral on TikTok mostly are people that are just kind of shooting the shit, like
Yeah.
whatever. It's just funny, random stuff. But I think a lot of people don't realize, especially in the business world, and that it fuels everything else. And I think it's going to keep going on because TikTok right now, as they reported Q4 of last year, 1 billion monthly active users.
Wow.
And Facebook total, or Meta, now, through all their platforms is 3.6 billion
crazy.
monthly, which is really crazy. But TikTok is the growth comparison is non-comparable, percentage wise for TikTok. So I don't know. We're gonna see what happens, but you got Reels, Shorts on
Yep.
YouTube and TikTok. It's all
So,
great opportunities.
As
to grow.
so talking about Reels being a good opportunity right now, what do you see as being the next big opportunity on social media?
I don't know. I think it depends what you're trying to do. I think there's always going to be a way, and for people like random stuff to go viral, like someone just posting something funny happening, just short form content. Like social media is just getting more and more geared towards just shorter and shorter, time span of attention, and just scroll quick. But I don't know.
I saw TikTok is now opening it up and I think this is to battle YouTube Shorts, where they're giving some users, for a while they were giving some users the opportunity to post for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And now they're giving some of their bigger users the opportunity to go 10 minutes, which I'm not positive how
Yeah.
that works on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is scrolling and on to the next, on to the next. You
Yeah,
can't.
I think it's because you can do that now. It's all right. At least I know I've seen on my account where you can upload the longer videos. I don't know if I've done any. It's just
I think
it's
I've got
something
the option to
made
do
for-
3. I don't know if it's over 10,000 people get it or everybody gets it, but I've got when I got the thing to get monetized, which I didn't. I got the notice for the 3 minutes when they did it, but I don't know about 10. But I've got a thing to do 3 minutes.
I think it's valuable to people who have an audience already and want to,
Yeah.
if they want to learn more about you or really like what you post, and that's a way just to build more trust with them and engage. But if you're just trying to go viral and you're playing a numbers game, if you want to go viral, we're editing clips for you, and in the under 60 seconds to fit this time frame.
Yep.
Typically, even shorter is better, 15 to 40 seconds. 3 minutes, your average watch time is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Right. What have you done any research in the into Web3 or any of the VR stuff that's coming?
Yeah, I've obviously, as I'm on social media and stuff every day, it's kind of my life where I'm seeing this stuff. I haven't been very involved as far as I'm not involved in NFT projects. I have some friends that have and have done very well, and I have VR. Some of my family, my dad loves it.
Yeah.
And I'm reading that book right now. You had
Oh yeah. Peter Diamando's book.
yeah. Well, I'm reading the Future is Faster
Yeah.
Than You Think right now,
Yeah, it's a good book.
which is
It's
been
interesting, right?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
very interesting. It's also something that's very hard to conceptualize. I think, but
I agree with you. For me, it's like a foundation you have to build upon. And then I think when you call back to previous things, and when you go back and read that book again a year from now or 2 years from now, it's going to make a lot more sense.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of our conversations will have that got me to a point where I can conceptualize a little bit better. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of conversations, hundreds of times where him and I are bouncing things off of each other, or we're whether it was on a hiking trail or whatever we were doing, where we were having this what I would consider really in-depth intellectual conversation about this. It kind of blows your mind a little bit, and just trying to really wrap your head around it, and then but as you do it over time, it feels like it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like also, I hate to say as you age, but as we live life, we get more experiences. And I think when we look back on something because of those experiences, we can maybe understand a little bit better. And I think that's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily you aging. I think it's you living your life and having those experiences and then looking back at it, and maybe it just makes more sense because of those experiences.
Well, I think that's incredibly true. And we were talking a little bit earlier. You know, he's 21, and all the experiences he's having right now, you're going to be so advanced in 4 or 5 years as compared to somebody else who's in their mid-20s. You know what I mean? You're feeling your early life is a very full one, it looks like to me.
Yeah. I just try to stay learning and growing, but I think I was very blessed and fortunate to, you know, at the time where I grew up and started to kind of become, you know, who I am and understanding more of life and not just a kid roaming around, is when, you know, the technology and the internet started getting bigger and bigger, and, you know, social media, like Vine, in my opinion, was one of the first, like, viral social media platforms. And, you know, I was just kind of in middle school figuring this stuff out, and, you know, as I've gotten older, then the platforms have grown, and just more and more opportunities. Just faster and faster.
I think you're selling yourself short. You would have done well no matter what the opportunity was. If you'd have been born 100 years ago, you'd have been fine, because you already proved at 13 you were trying to coordinate and solve problems, right? You had this problem at school that they weren't serving lunches, and your mind already is a problem-solving mind. Like, you're like, okay, let me create this system. Let me reach out to Chick-fil-A. Let me talk to the school. Let me coordinate with parents. Let me figure out. Let me put out a survey to see what price point they'd be willing to spend, right? That mindset works with or without social media, without technology. That mindset 100 years ago, 200 years ago, if you could have been selling rocks.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you did, right? Didn't you?
Sold rocks as a kid?
Didn't you sell some rocks at school?
I've sold some. Yeah, there's so many random things.
What was
I've
it?
done.
Remember, didn't you decorate rocks or something?
So there's like, so my dad is very, he's very creative and like has all these different hobbies and stuff. You know, from 3D printers to.
He just sent me a picture of this massive. No, it was a video. Can I say it? Can we say it?
Yeah.
He's like, this is what real fucking men work on, or something like that. He may not have said fucking.
Yeah.
He's like, all you social media, whatever.
No, he's like, you know, my thing is like right now is a lot of focus on like advertising and e-commerce stuff. So
I was rolling.
He watches my YouTube videos and he's like, you're over here, you know, fucking with your ad sets and your CBOs. This is what real men do. And he just got this new, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but this big machine for
it's big ass. I think it's green.
Woodworking or whatever it is. And but yeah, rocks were like one of the things he had gotten, like maybe a laser printer or something like that. We bought these rocks at the Dollar Tree, and it was Valentine's Day at school. So we're like, all right, we're gonna sell rocks. We did like a Valentine's Day thing. So like I can buy a rock and have it sent to you anonymously or with my name that says Happy Valentine's Day, Eric, or Be My Valentine, or, you know, whatever on the rock, and it'll say like to Eric from Tanner, or if you want to do anonymous. And so we'd sell that, and people would come, they'd pay cash, and
it's great.
This is like a 1 week promo. Sort of,
I'd have bought one of those
rocks.
fucking rocks, man. Yeah, I would have bought one of those.
I found, I forget how much we sold them for, but I found a couple years ago in my room at my parents' house. I found like some leftover rocks, like some examples, and then all the orders, like because it's all manual paper, and then all the cash. I just kept it in this envelope. It was like $80-something.
Hell yeah, man.
So I was like, damn.
That's great.
There's all these random things that I've done that I forget about sometimes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like 100 years ago, you could be selling rocks, bro. You did.
Yeah, for sure.
Like social media is great, and I get what I get the heart of what you're saying is that you grew up in a time and you had this utility that you really were passionate about, and you found a business way to use it, but. You'd have found a business way to use two sticks.
Yeah. If I was born in the 1800s, I would have told some jokes about fucking Abraham Lincoln. You know what I mean? You were gonna find whatever business.
Yeah, man. You're and I'm not just saying this. I say this to other people. Like, I speak highly of you, but I mean it. You know, at 16, I could tell when you were 16. Like, I'm sure if I'd have met you at 10, I would have been able to tell, right? Like,
we should have started this with like how we met.
Yeah,
that's rare.
That was what I was going to ask next. I have two things I want to ask you about.
We'll wait until Neil comes back for that one. Then.
Yeah. Give me a quick because we have some people who have been hopping in the comments and asking some questions about some of the stuff that you've been talking about. But one thing that I hear more often than not is. About drop shipping, and I know that's a thing that you did pretty early on and got popular with. If you had to boil that down to a minute, just for us dum-dums who don't quite understand it, could you explain the process of drop shipping and just basically what it is?
Yeah, I mean, drop shipping is it's a simple business model where if Daniel is selling iPhone cases or whatever. He has iPhone cases, and I want to sell them, but I don't want to own the inventory. Then I can make an agreement with Daniel and say, I'm going to sell your products, but if you buy it from me, then you're going to fulfill it, and I'm going to pay you per order. So I'm not taking the risk of buying all of that inventory itself. And dropshipping is a business model. It's been around forever. It's going to continue to be working in many ways. But how it got popular and like how I started and got my foot in the door with this in the e-commerce world was doing it from China. There's suppliers, all these different products, and big platforms like AliExpress is how it started out, where we can make a storefront on Shopify and take pretty much any product we want and just try and sell it. And you're playing a numbers game. And that's exactly what I was doing to start out, playing a numbers game, testing all these different products, because they weren't mine. Like I could
Right.
sell it and fulfill it through someone else.
Yeah.
It's really the Amazon business model.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Amazon's.
Amazon's just the best at the Shopify part.
I've heard of
Yeah.
them. I've heard of them.
They're the best drop shipper.
Yeah, right.
But and I think that's the thing. What he's able to do is market. He's a master marketer, right? So like these other companies that may have the inventory may not have the ability to market appropriately, right? And to reach those audiences, and then to make the tweaks that he makes. So he'll send out something. He makes it's so elaborate. I'm not going to do it justice, but I'll see like page after page after page, and tab like, well, this is, and he has it. He knows it. Like, okay, well, this line, this is how we did this. And he'll just tweak. Right. Well, actually, we're going to try this. We're going to try this, and so it's all about making these small modifications, and then he sends it out into the world and says, okay, well, what type of return on that investment? How much did that ad cost us? How many orders did it produce? Asking for feedback, right? Like he literally just tweaks and tweaks and tweaks. So any failure is really just a learning experience, right? And then he just dials it in. And so for me, when I think as not being a drop shipper, like I said earlier, I'm stuck in a brick and mortar world right when we first met. Like for me, I was always like I wanted to own the inventory, right? I want to have it. That way I don't run into the shipping issues, right? The delays and things like that. But the other side of him is because he isn't bogged down by a tremendous amount of inventory, he had a tremendous amount of flexibility. So he could focus on attaining customers and then matching those customers with suppliers that he's already worked out deals with to provide products. And I think that is the genius of it. And I think if you get online, you'll see a lot of negatives tied around drop shipping. But if you think about it, I mean, honestly, it's very much like Amazon.
Yeah, it also helps the retailers because as a retail business, it's much more difficult to get a large following, a large customer base. And if you have someone like you who can come in and say, hey, I can move that product for you efficiently and way faster than you can do it, it actually helps. It's a win-win for both of you. And as Daniel and I, we've had a lot of clients in physical retail businesses over the years, and in that type of brick and mortar business, you're always trying to figure out how many streams of revenue you can develop through that one business, that one location, and it's difficult in a brick and mortar business to get that type of following, that type of traction.
And it is a great way to get your foot in the door. I'm glad at it because you can put all your focus and most people that start dropshipping, it's become a business model, at least seen online, and like how I started and my YouTube was. It's very low cost, and it's an opportunity. You don't have to assume the risk of all that, which is great. But
it's easy to adapt too. Like when you're in a brick and mortar business, it's difficult to change direction or move. What's the term?
How do you change? Yeah, big machines move slowly.
What's the term about the paradigm shifting technologies, the technology that changes business?
Disruption.
Yeah.
Disruptive technologies.
Yeah.
So when disruptive technologies come along, if you're in a brick and mortar business, it's very difficult to adapt to that new technology or that new change or that shift. But when you're in a digital world like you, it's just as easy as just.
You should see the stuff I've seen, man.
Direction.
People will start a store selling guitars, and then they're assuming no risk, little money and trying to market it with very little skills and very new to it. Doesn't work. Okay, now I'm starting a watch store. People are just making this crazy shift, and that's how it's kind of been seen. And I guess now, as I've gotten more into the game and the business of e-commerce in general, I've leaned more towards not really drop shipping, at least from China, if we are, just because there are many issues, especially now with everything going on over the past couple of years. Even China recently, we have inventory being produced over there still, and they couldn't work for like a week. They had to shut down because they said their cases are too high again. So I don't know all the details, but all this stuff going on where drop shipping these single orders, there's been a lot of headache if you're doing it that way, but
Yep.
it can be done in any business.
But I guess you could do it in bigger orders too, right? You could be drop shipping to other retailers, correct?
Yeah, you
In
could,
bulk.
100%. Like it's a business model everywhere.
And I was going to say, I think of what I didn't realize and what I've started to realize is, and Amazon becomes the largest drop shipper, but I've got corporate relationships with Staples, Best Buy, several companies, right? And I mean, literally corporate contracts. I can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars buying, right? And those are, I didn't realize this, but they're drop ship contracts.
Yeah.
I'm buying from Staples. Staples is not housing these things anymore.
No, yeah.
Staples is sometimes the stuff shows up from China.
Right.
And I bought it from Staples.
Right.
Right. So Staples has turned themselves into a drop shipper, Best Buy drop shipper, right? And then
Walmart.
they do have, you're starting to see this transition with Best Buy with some of these and Staples where they're taking part of their warehouse and their storefront and they're turning it into warehouse space, right? And the retail center is becoming smaller. And I think that what they're doing is they're just going to they just basically have all these shipping hubs throughout the United States, and that's what they're going to turn their retail
That was
locations
an adjustment
into.
that was made in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it. But if you look, most of these companies were quote unquote drop shippers, and we just never knew it.
And also,
So you guys have probably pulled. I'm curious. Do you think drop shippers have pulled billions of dollars in revenues from some of these companies?
Oh,
for sure.
yeah, absolutely. It's been crazy. I don't know, it's a love-hate relationship for me because it can be done in good ways. I've just found now for like my e-commerce projects that I'm working on long term, it's just much cleaner, especially with the advertising side. Just doing things where you have control of a good drop shipping relationship that's private, or like having our own inventory, like in the fulfillment center that my buddy owns in Florida.
That's Ariel.
Yeah, Ariel, Velocity Worldwide.
Hey, shout out.
So that's good. So that's like a quick story. Basically, in 2020, I'd started this store. I was drop shipping. We started scaling up. Go from there were a few grand a month to when the thing with drop shipping and the way I've always done is like when you have something working, you want to scale it as quick and as high as you can. But payment processors and sometimes your suppliers, they aren't ready for that or they aren't fans of that. So when you go from doing a few grand a month because I'm just testing this product and I go, okay, now we've done $50K this month in revenue. And then the processor's like, okay, we need to verify these transactions and see like, what's going on. So you send them, some Chinese tracking numbers and they're like, nah, that's not going to work. Put your money on hold. And then there's cash flow issues. And then it gets, like I'm still trying to scale. I'm like, all right, I'll deal with it. Keep scaling. And it got to a point where we're doing a few $100,000 a month and there's just so much cash flow issues with the payment processors holding money. And, and then you have delays in shipping where then, that affects your advertising. These platforms will not let you advertise. They'll increase your costs. And I was like, screw it. So I bought inventory and just had it shipped as soon as I could to the fulfillment center.
Well, that's, that goes back to the, what's the word again? The
Disruptive.
You can just edit that out so I don't look like an idiot.
That's the bumper for the episode.
Along
That's
with me,
what I
like
wrote in my notes
my
anyway.
congestions over here. Every time I do that, just edit that out. Yeah.
Nice and easy.
I'll edit out everything but the sniff.
Oh, yeah,
There we
yeah,
go,
yeah. That's it. Yeah, just reels of you talking to me, just sniffing.
But these disruptive technologies, and that's one of my concerns in the not so distant future is some of these older systems we have, like the payment processing systems and stuff like that. They don't adapt as quickly, and so I think we'll have these new technologies and better ways of generating revenue or doing commerce, but some of the older systems that aren't as willing to change or adapt will hold things back.
Yeah, and they're usually the backbones.
Right. Yeah. But also with what you're doing with drop shipping, I can see maybe in 10 years or less having the VR technology to go in and like you say, the guitar guy, right? Like you want to sell guitars. Well, you could just set up a virtual guitar shop or a music store, right? And you go into this virtual world and you have your haptic suit on, your haptic gloves. And by then we'll probably have a lot of sensory technology too, like smells and stuff, just through external hardware. And you could, actually pick up one of these guitars in this virtual world and play it. And it would feel, because with the new haptic technologies, you can grab things and you have the tactile experience, and just try out the guitar and play it.
I thought you were gonna say I was gonna have to like close someone one-on-one sales.
But
play
then
that game.
But then if the guitar business isn't doing well, you just switch it out with keyboards or anything else. You just completely transition over to a different product with the flip of a switch instead of having to sell a business or close a business, and it'll be much easier. And then it's just the retailer is just dealing directly with the manufacturer.
Yeah, I will say it definitely, things have gotten easier for people to an any-day person to make a business, start a business, but I don't think it's not getting any easier to become successful in that business.
I agree.
I think it's harder just with more volume and more accessibility.
You have more competition as
so
well.
many people doing the same thing. Like
Right.
there's videos I've made like when I was really into drop shipping at first, and the videos in 2017, 18, and like I would show a product or a store or something, like people just go out and they'll copy exactly what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can't show anything.
Yeah.
Well, even in your videos,
Yeah.
they'll copy all your videos. And
Yeah. Copy
Yeah,
your,
no,
copy
it's
your
everything.
social
You
media
see,
accounts.
like you'll see people.
yeah, right.
I'm sure that there's people out there that have seen like Daniel's reels that have gotten 1 million views that are trying to copy the same exact style. That's just because I mean it's a smart thing to do if you do it right.
Something wrong with it. Yeah.
You take something that's doing well, but do it even better.
Yeah, we had a conversation with Evan Williams about that, and people were just recreating his exact videos. And
I wish they'd
so they
improve
go-
upon it though. Like not. I've had some that copy it word for word, move.
Well, it
like,
shouldn't be that. It should be the style, like the
Yeah, I
framework,
agree.
because that's
Yeah,
what.
yeah.
be
not the
inspired by
words.
something, not copy something. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with
steal
you.
like an artist and
Yeah.
stuff.
The original. Yeah.